Hello everybody, Ben here, and today's video about my visit to the NRM, or National Railway Museum in York. This locomotive here is the original rocket, not replica, no, the original. Unusual, but I think very nice, slightly improved engine green is Gladstone, which I think is a very unusual because I think it is a 042 wheel arrangement, which is very unusual, but I really like how it looks really nice. This locomotive here, I believe, is an LMS Crab, which is a 260 tender engine, and it's painted up in this very nice LMS maroon livery. There's the smoke box. Another LMS locomotive is this single-wheeler locomotive, and you can see it's been rebuilt a few times. But I think it's very unusual, especially with a single wheel. That's not on a lot of locomotives, and I just think the LMS livery just really sort of suits it, and the cab looks quite nice as well, although it is very, very open. This engine here is a LSWR M7 it's the original livery of the lined green. It's a very nice locomotive, I do like the M7. There's the cab, and also you can see it's the number 245, and there's the sort of bunker. That's a coach it was behind as well, very nice, and a fish van. A Duchess box van, which is quite long. I think it's maybe not a 10-foot one, but sort of 15-foot. And this here, I think, is a Mark III, which is a Pullman coach. This is another coach. It's a very nice, old-fashioned looking one, and so is this unusual looking livery. This is a Class 87 in the BR blue, and as you can see, it is named Royal Scot. However, I believe on the other side it's called something different, and I believe that is Robert Stevenson or something like that. Let me see what it says. Arguably one of the nicest looking locomotives in the museum is this SECR 440 tender engine in its lovely SECR livery. One of the biggest locomotives in the museum is this ginormous, I believe, Chinese locomotive, which is absolutely massive. It's bigger than like the 9F that's there as well. Here we've got a DMU and an EMU. That's a Great Western Streamlined rail car. While this one here, I believe, is one of the Southern's EMUs, which that's the bar there's for third rail power. We've also got here the Hsts, which I believe this is the first one ever built on turntable. I think this is an LMS third. You can hold a standard farm tea tank. Pretty big. I've forgotten what class of loco this is, but I believe it's one of the LNYR, which is the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railways 242 tank engine, which is a very unusual, but I think a very sort of nice wheel arrangement, because it's sort of unusual with it being like that. But especially in the lined sort of livery, it does look very nice. And then you can see sort of the frames there and everything. Aerolite. Here's the ugly duckling in the Q1, though I personally quite like the Q1s purely because of how strange they look, because, well, they look unusual, and, well, you don't see a lot of locos like that, yet they seem to be pretty good, I would say. Here's some wagons outside. That's, I think, a prototype Freightliner thing for sort of more modern guards vans, I think. And then you can see various other things. There's a signal, and that's, I believe, a wagon there. And you can see the NRMs, I'm going to guess there's because it says National Railway Museum on the side, 08. Here's some headboards, lots of different ones. I would quite like to have all of these headboards and engage, because it would be quite nice to have sort of them on the front of an express train. A favourite of mine in the National Railway Museum is this Northeastern Railway long boiler. and I quite like the design because it's got a very short wheelbase, I'd say, and there's massive overhangs at each end, and the livery just looks quite nice, and I would really like to make one for the MLR fleet, but I don't know if I would actually be able to do that. Here's the rocket, not the rocket obviously though, but a replica of the rocket. One of a few actually, I believe, because there's another one in the NRM as well, so yeah, but you can see that's pretty much faithful to the original. Something different for the NRM, considering it's mostly to do with trains, is this ginormous, I think it's a steam-powered pumping engine or something like that. Here is Furness Railway number 3, which I believe is called on copper knob due to the dome, and that's a pretty big copper dome, which is kind of unusual due to the fact that it's an 040 tender engine, which I think is quite unusual. Something unusual is I believe this is a Merchant Navy or one of the Bully Dare Smooth Pacifics, which has been cut out to show people how steam locomotives work. I've seen somewhere, I'm pretty sure, of a video of sort of the wheels spinning. I don't know if that still happens now, but on the other side it's normal without anything cut out. It's a bit more complete on this side now. One of my personal favourites, and the last steam locomotive ever built, Evening Star, which I believe was built in Swindon, so would that also make it the last steam locomotive ever built in Swindon? I quite like it because it's sort of in the lined green livery, which is very unusual for a freight engine, especially because no other 9S ever wore that livery. And it was also sort of designated to go into preservation before it was even built. And if I could just go up these steps here, you can see inside the cab. Nice seats. One of the diesels in the National Railway Museum is this Class 20, which might be the first one built, I'm not sure, but it's definitely one of the early ones due to the fact that it's got the discs on the front rather than the later head code boxes, but it's in the BR early green with no yellow panels. Another diesel is this Class 31 in the BR blue with full yellow ends. I quite like the 31s, I've got a model of one, and well, it just looks quite different compared to all the other locomotives in the NRM. This GWR 460 is called Low Star, which I guess makes it a star class. I quite like the sort of Great Western lime green. It looks a lot sort of similar to the BR lined green, which is quite interesting because maybe did they have something to do with the livery or not? I'm not exactly sure. This here is the LNER dynamometer car, which I believe recorded Mallard's sort of express run where it reached 126 miles an hour. The engine itself, Mallard, which is the fastest steam locomotive in the world, when it reached 126 miles an hour. Really wish I could see it running, but I think they only actually steamed it in preservation for 2 years in the 80s, but then they've kept it to sort of preserve the original parts, which I get. And I actually think that's, in a way, a good thing, because it preserves the actual parts of the loco, which I guess sort of took part in that high-speed run, which is really what it's famous for, and why we've still got it with us now in preservation. Very shiny.
Suppose they don't want this one back.
Yeah, true. Bit far from over this one, isn't it? They want it back. I don't know. Another rocket. There again, how many are there? Like exactly the same one as the one now further down. A rival to the LNER's A4 is the LMS's Duchess class, which I believe for a small amount of time did hold the speed record, and this one here is Duchess of Hamilton in the sort of unusual streamlined livery, which looks more like a bathtub, I would say. And here's this sort of early locomotive, which I don't know what's called. Well, there you are. I won't pronounce it because I don't know how to. But that's a big difference compared to a bathtub and that thing. And then you've got that Pullman coach there. This is one of the electric locos that I believe worked on the Woodhead line, which is in the unusual line black.
I don't think that's an engine there. That is, this is a dandy dump with a holes. Not with heads locomotive, is it? Wrong thing, yes.
Here we have this very nice large-scale model of some Northeastern Railway 060 design. And then we've got this improved pre-descent design, I think that's what it is, 240 tender engine, and a random assortment of crockery that I guess was on trains. Here is a Deltic prototype model, and that's another Northeastern Railway loco there, and a Stirling single. That looks a bit dirty there. And then you've got this very large scale 440, I believe, Claude Hamilton. I don't know if that's the class or not. And then you've got the first Bachmann 9F ever made 10 years ago. I think that's a model of Evening Star, so it shows its age. And I think I don't know what this loco is. It looks like a almost kit, but one that hadn't been painted yet. Then you've got, I think that's a class 86, and then that's some early DMU, but no EMU. Then this massive 464 tank engine called Remembrance. That's an LSPCR engine, I believe. Then we've got this unusual locomotive. I think it's one of the Raven, possibly, electric loco designs for the Woodhead, maybe, I don't know. Then I think that's a Great Western broad gauge loco. Then, bit different again, you've got this, I think that's Sir Nigel Gesley in the wartime black livery. It's not quite ready for running though, and you can see it there, and it's alongside. I want to say that's probably going to be a rebuilt Merchant Navy there, and a crane. And metal headboards as well. One of my favourite locomotives in the whole museum, the Class 55 Delta, the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry, and it's wearing the Flying Scotsman Thistle headboard, I believe that's what it is as well. But it's one of my favourites, purely because I have a model of it, and it's the only one I believe that I have an exact model of that locomotive that's preserved. So I find that quite special, and one day I want to get my model of it and in person with this one here, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But yeah, they're very impressive machines, these Deltics, because they're massive, and they're actually powered by engines from minesweepers, Royal Navy minesweepers. This one's an unusual one here. It's the North Staffordshire Railway Battery Electric No. 1, made out of wood of all things. Then various other things in the museum here as well. I want to say that's an LNWR design in the early LMS livery, but I'm not sure. This is Big Bertha from the Licky Income, which was a very unusual banking engine, but I like how it looks. Now here is I believe these are 00 gauge models, or that sort of scale, of many different models of coaches, rolling stock wagons. There's loads of different things here. It's all really impressive because they're all done to a very high standard, and they're only made by one person, I believe, over a number of years, and they all look really good. So I wouldn't be able to do anything like this ever, because just look how many there. I think it said somewhere there's like over 400 wagons, and there's like 80 odd locos, I think. And there's a lot there, basically, a lot of unusual designs lots of ones that I don't know if I've seen before, I don't know a lot about.
Looks like somebody's been basically building or making or repainting or buying wagons. Because there's quite a lot here. What age?
Born in 1902.
Trying to build them, but they all are really good.
As I said, there's absolutely a lot of it. There's loads of stuff here, lots of different locomotives and coaches and wagons. Here are these more large-scale models. I think there's like Flying Scotsman, you can see the Delta up there, there's a Class 91, Hsts, and this is now a model of one of the Vale of Rydal trios, Owen Glendow, which is 262 tank engine, which I think worked on the Vale of Rydal line, which is interesting because they were actually painted in BR blue. Thank you for watching this video by me. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below with some video ideas or feedback. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.